You have to be really committed to the sport if you look like this guy. I mean, he's painted with multicolored polka dots, he has 4 flags, and not to mention the ice cream cone on his roof. He is a true fan of the Ice Screamer, and that is what gives him the title Ice Screamer's biggest fan. So, without any more talk, let's get right into the introduction of this suggestion video. Thank you very much for the suggestion, Dusty Vanderson, also known as Chad Anderson. This video coincides with your birthday request last week of Ice Screamer himself. And if you guys missed that video, the link will be down in the description below. I hope you had a great birthday, Chad Anderson, and I hope you enjoyed the video as well, and I hope you enjoyed this one too. You guys know how to make a proper suggestion by now, but if you don't, please watch the video in the description below. There's a link to it right at the top so you can't miss it, and in about 11 minutes you'll know how to make a proper suggestion. So, I'd really appreciate it if you watch that video before making a suggestion or a birthday request. And now let's get on with the review here of Ice Screamer's biggest fan. First, we have to talk about his appearance, then his release, and then we'll get to the diecast itself. So, he obviously appeared in Monster Truck Mater, which is a Cars tune in the Mater's Tall Tales series. Obviously, this series featured Mater being the main character and becoming some sort of exotic occupation or profession. And in this case, as the title hints, he became a monster truck, the Tormentor. Pretty cool. And the Ice Screamer's biggest fan here was not his fan. He was actually a fan of the monster truck, the Ice Screamer, who, like I said earlier, I reviewed last week. Now, he does appear rooting for the Ice Screamer when Mater goes up against the Ice Screamer in the ring, and eventually, though, the Ice Screamer's biggest fan kind of disappears, and it makes sense because the Ice Screamer was never shown again, but another fan comes into play. And that's the Tormentor's biggest fan, and you can very much see the similarities between the two of them. So, my question is, did Ice Screamer's biggest fan become the Tormentor's biggest fan after seeing the Ice Screamer lose to Mater, aka the Tormentor? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, because obviously, they're the same model, van, and they're very, very similar in all of their features, as you can see. Very, very cool. I like these a lot. As you can see, both of them have 4 flags, 3 on the roof. Obviously, the Tormentor's biggest fan has Tormentor flags. Ice Screamer's biggest fan has Ice Screamer flags with ice cream cones and polka dots. And there's also one on the hood there. The Tormentor has a visor, but the Ice Screamer's biggest fan does not. Instead, he has an ice cream cone that's melting on his roof, and it's kind of like a rubbery plastic, so you can kind of twist the tip of it, but don't do it that much because you might break it off. Now, I don't want to get into the review just yet, but I'm saying all of this to better explain my reasoning behind my opinion that the Tormentor's biggest fan may have actually been the Ice Screamer's biggest fan in the past. So just think about that for a second and let me know. Of course, you should probably watch the short before putting your thoughts down, just so you know the entire story. So now that you know where he appeared, obviously in the stands, it's not like he was the wrestler out there, but now let's talk about his one and only release, making him a pretty rare car. Now, surprisingly, he's not that expensive on eBay. He sells for about $20, give or take a few bucks, and in the grand scheme of things, that's not that bad because the Tormentor goes for about $50 or above. I know, right? I can't believe it either, but I guess that's just the way it is because the Tormentor is Mater and the Ice Screamer's biggest fan is just kind of a nobody to a lot of collectors and kids because they want to get the main characters. Now, he was originally released in 2010 as a deluxe, just like this, in the Monster Truck Mater Cars Toon series or collection, whichever one you'd like to specify it as. He was released in this very same representation, being a deluxe and having his information down here on the name tag. However, for some odd reason, they actually put the picture of the Ice Creamer, this guy, and not actually the fan. So that's a little mistake by Mattel or whoever created the name tag, which, I assume it would be Mattel, but you never know. So now that we've covered his appearance and his release, we can talk about the diecast itself. So, pretty awesome car. I really do like this guy. He's probably my favorite car from the Monster Truck Mater series. All of them that have been released. He's probably my favorite. He's got an Ice Creamer flag right here, like I said earlier. Ice cream cone, red and purple polka dots, and throughout his entire body he has red, blue, and purple polka dots. So this guy really went all out. Just that awesome white paint job to match the paint job of the monster truck, the Ice Creamer. So I'll just have him in the background so you can kind of see the resemblance. Like I said earlier as well, rubbery plastic on the cone here. I really do like how it's like melting into the roof there. Got some flags here. They do bend, but again, just don't pull them that hard because you don't want to break one off. Here's the base if you're interested. Not too much information, which is what I like. And on the back here we got a bunch more polka dots and a license plate, which may actually be too small to read. Let's see what we got here. Looks like it starts with a 419 WV. Actually, it's 9NV. Thought that was a W. I'm sorry. That is very, very small. I cannot really read that. Wish they made the license plate bigger because he's such a big car. He should have a bigger license plate. And now let's bring back the Tormentor's Biggest Fan. I think they're pretty equivalent in their decals, designs, and accessories. They both have 4 flags. Ice Creamer with a cone and polka dots. Tormentor with a flame. Now, instead of having that ice cream cone, the Tormentor's Biggest Fan has a visor that says Tormentor. And instead of having all those polka dots, Tormentor's Biggest Fan just has the text written on the side there. And in addition, the Tormentor's Biggest Fan also has a little tow hitch in the back here as well. Very, very cool. I really do like this. Now, I feel like it's pretty balanced out, even though I would classify that the Tormentor's Biggest Fan has 2 accessories. Disregarding the flags right now, I'm just talking about these things, the visor and the tow hitch. He has 2 things like that, you know what I'm saying? And the Ice Creamer's Biggest Fan only has the cone here, but I feel like all the polka dots kind of make up for that one accessory because the Tormentor's Biggest Fan is entirely blue except for the text on either side of him. So they're pretty equivalent, but I actually do like Ice Creamer's Biggest Fan more. I just really do like the appearance of him with all the polka dots, and I just love his expression. Man, look at that. He is excited to be at the game or wrestling match. The expression for the Tormentor's Biggest Fan is also pretty cool. I like the eye expression. Very, very nice. Well, that's really all for the Tormentor's Biggest Fan in comparison to the Ice Creamer's Biggest Fan. I wish they did give them names, but I do understand why they just called them the Ice Creamers and the Tormentor's Biggest Fan because that's what people will recognize them by in the stores. You know, if someone who's not too familiar with cars walks up and they're like, oh yeah, I remember you from the short, you know, they'll maybe buy it. So I can understand the reasoning there. Now, before we conclude the review, I just want to show a few other SUVs that are the same model or very similar to the Ice Creamer's Biggest Fan here. Now, of course, the Tormentor's Biggest Fan is the same model, but we do have a few others as well. we have Charlie Cargo here. Now this one does have a mouth plate, as you can see. Plastic piece, metal body. There's a difference there. I did actually just like slap him down. I probably shouldn't have tapped him so hard there, but getting back to the topic here, the Ice Creamer's Biggest Fan does not have that mouth plate. So there's one difference, of course. There aren't any holes in the body either for the flags and whatnot. But overall, they are very, very similar. We also have Marco Axelbender, who's very similar to Richard Clayton Kensington, the other Piston Cup security van. And you can see that they are the same model, but they do have a few differences. One being the fact that the security van here, Marco, has holes for the light bar, whereas Ice Creamer's Biggest Fan has holes for the flags and the cone right here. Now, one thing I do want to mention is that both of them do have the racks right here, these black things and the gray things, whereas Charlie Cargo did not. So that's one difference between the three of them there. All of them do have the same rims, as you can see. Charlie actually has different rims, but they have the same ones. And the last one that has the same model, essentially, to Ice Creamer's Biggest Fan here is Octane Gang Crew Chief. This one also has a mouth plate like the other two that I just showed, so it does make him a little bit different. And the accessories, this case being the headphones, make the model different as well. So you guys can kind of get the idea that they're based off of the same casting slash mold, but there are different holes, like punctures, that do not carry over from each car. And I do also want to show Benny Brake Drum, who was released last year, about this time. He was released in like fall of 2015. That's when I found him actually, so I'm going to say a year, even though maybe you found them earlier, but they are both SUVs, but as you can see, Benny is not as long, and he's a little bit different in some other areas as well. So that is all for my review of the Ice Creamer's Biggest Fan. Chad Anderson, aka Dusty Vanderson, thank you for watching. Thank you for the suggestion, and thank you for the birthday request. I hope you enjoyed both videos and you had a great birthday, and maybe this kind of extends your birthday celebration. So thank you, all of you, for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for a review of Brad Windmiller, a prototype actually. I'll add a little hint to that. It is a prototype, so it's gonna be pretty cool. It's probably not the prototype that you may envision in your head that doesn't have any eyes and has like weird colorings. It actually looks normal, but there's one thing that makes him a prototype, and you'll learn what that is tomorrow. So I'll see you guys then. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Bye now.